Hi guys, so this is part 2 of What If Kamen Rider Eternal was in Senki's Eshu Symphogear. So let's start. With the task finally beginning, Shroud walked over to the computer and starts it up. Staring at the computer screen, the device displayed images, the location, and the energy readings of whatever is attacking. She knew what is the cause. She needed to make sure her adopted child wins each fight in order to prevent the others from retrieving it. Let's hope he can gather all 26 before they do. She knew what would happen if someone gathers all 26 Gaia memories. It could spell disaster in the wrong hands. Her previous mission of gathering them failed. The memory of that day still lingers in her mind, her hand tracing along the lines of the bandages over her face. Her fingers curled, feeling the onset of anger growing from the memory. Taking a deep breath, she focuses on the important task at hand. With the new opportunity rising, it was about time to get all 26 Gaia memories. Kamen Rider Eternal, Song of Eternity. Chapter 2, Accelerated Troubles. The raven-haired teen was driving his new motorcycle across the city. It was an excellent gift that his adoptive mother has given him. He still followed the law as he had to stop at every light now and then. He drives around and felt the wind against his body and it felt good. He smiled softly before the icon that Shroud uses popped up on the visor of his helmet as he answered it. Enjoying the ride? She asked. More like having a blast. This is the best, Mom. He replied. Don't get ahead of yourself, she reminded. Right now you have to do your newly assigned tasks. Alright, sorry. Shroud sighed as she typed away. There's a disturbance in the Shinjuku district. Go to it. Understood, he nodded before he revved the engine and followed the waypoint the helmet was giving to him. However, as the drive progresses, he noticed some cars were in accidents, no doubt that he was getting close to the source of whatever caused it. Suddenly his helmet rang off with an alert notice, a warning of noise. Why now? He grimaced, his hands gripping the handles tightly. Enrique, don't you dare go after the noise. But what about Dash? You don't have to worry about them. She said, trying to make sure he doesn't run off again, especially now that he's on the road. He was silent for a moment before having no choice but to follow her order. I understand. He conceded. He didn't like it, but he didn't want to upset the only person who took him in after that day. As he continues, a red blur passes by and in moments, the young teen was flung off his bike and skidded on the ground hard. Something hit him off of his bike as he groaned and looked around, only for a few more blurs pass by as he received several hits. What the hell? He gasped in pain. What appeared in front of him was a mechanical humanoid, with parts and pipes similar to a bike as the face looked to be a mechanical face, with heavy armor and a large O on the chest piece. The thing chuckled as he kneeled down. Man! Having this power and speed is amazing. I can do anything. The monster said before disappearing and reappearing with pearls and jewelry, before disappearing once more and coming back with a civilian as she struggled against the monster. I'm practically untouchable. What is that? He spoke through the motorcycle helmet. That is a dopent, Shroud explained through his helmet. And based on the scans that are an XL dopent. Seems the XL memory found someone to use its power. Why is he doing this? Either due to the Gaia memory's influence, or cause he believes he can. You'll have to stop him. Enrique suddenly remembered his fight against the noise earlier. The memory's influence, was it the reason why he became full of anger and hatred towards the noise? Was it because the memory's influence made him defeat the noise? Let me go! The girl cried out, trying to pry herself out of the dopent's grip. The dopent cackled, looking at her then at Enrique, ha ha ha. This is so much fun. I can do whatever I please. The dopent said. Let's see if I can even get away with getting rid of some witnesses? The raven-haired teen balled his hands into fists, realizing he has to fight with no choice. Reaching for his new device, he was about to present it until a voice called out. "Release her, now," a feminine voice ordered. The dopant in Enrique turned his head and his eyes widened underneath his motorcycle helmet. She was wearing a light blue, white, and black bodysuit with forearmed gauntlets, black headphones, and a blade on each of her ankles. Her weapon was a white katana which, along with the blades on her ankles as armor pieces, were in the legs as well. However, her face and hair were someone he definitely recognized 2 years ago. It was Tsubasa, the same girl he met 2 years ago during the concert. "And who are you? Don't get in my way." The dopant growled, charging towards Tsubasa. "Look out!" Enrique called out to her. The bluonette quickly dodged the attack, but with XL speed, she barely dodged his punch, and for Tsubasa, she began to sing as she strikes the dopant. She swung and waved the sword around, slashing at the dopant as she was able to keep up with its fast strikes. While it did hit her, she seemed to power through the pain as she continued. She was literally singing while fighting. Tsubasa ducked from the next punch, but it was a feint as the dopant used his other fist, punching her in the stomach. "Stop singing." The dopant growled, annoyed, "You'll be the first one." He punched her again as the impact sent her stumbling, clutching her stomach from the harsh hit. "Guh." Tsubasa groaned, standing back up. "You two, get out of here. I'll deal with this monster." She took a deep breath and was about to sing, but the dopant was not going to let it happen. It sped towards her as it was about to deliver a punch that was aimed at her. Raven-haired teen acted fast as he pushed Tsubasa aside as the dopant's punch hits the teen's motorcycle helmet, nearly cracking it open and sent him reeling. The teen groaned before he slowly stood up. "Man, that hurts." He grimaced, but the helmet protected his head from being shattered. "You need to get out of here. It's not safe," Tsubasa said to him. "I am not leaving." His glare was focused at the dopant. "That thing won't harm an innocent life," Enrique growled. He presents his buckle before placing it on his waist. Once the belt formed, he presents his own Gaia memory that was in his right hand. Eternal! Placing his left hand over the front of the motorcycle helmet, feeling the sudden itch in his mind. It was telling him to punish the dopant for his crimes. Show him who he was dealing with. Placing it into the slot, he pushed it while at the same time, pulling his left hand away from his face as he slants the buckle. Eternal. The music played before forming the armor, his eternal red flare mode now visible. Tsubasa gasped upon witnessing what happened along with the dopant. Eternal pointed at the dopant before pointing his thumb downward. "Time to send you to hell," he declared. "What in the..." Tsubasa got out. Eternal rushed towards the dopant, who got out of his stupor, but the rider punched the kaijin in the face with an ignited fist. The attack sent him reeling from the burning fist. Tsubasa, however, suddenly remembered what Genjuro told her. During the incident with Hibiki Tachibana, another person was fighting noise in a different area. And that person was wearing the very armor she was seeing. Tsubasa was confused. Just who was that person, and was he also capable of fighting noise? With Eternal, he wasn't able to dodge the next attack as the impact sent him stumbling before XL Dopant kicked him with a roundhouse assault. Tsubasa shook her head as she draws out 2 new blades and charged forward, blocking the next attack. "Get up! If you can fight, don't hesitate, and don't be distracted. Don't think you can do this on your own," she called to him, holding off on the dopant. Eternal growled before shoving her aside before he brutally punched the dopant with a right hook across its face. The attack sent it crashing into a tree while Eternal looks at Tsubasa. "You stay out of this," he said coldly. "Excuse me?" She gawked. "This is my fight, not yours," he responded before he saw the dopant heading towards him. Seeing this, he brought out his blade and blocked the incoming attack as he buckled from the attack but finally stood his ground. "My fight or not, I can't stand by and let this thing hurt others." She responded, charging ahead as she then swung her sword, slashing at the dopent before kicking it away. She flew over as she sung, bringing 2 blades onto her legs as she spun around, kicking and slashing it. The white armored rider leaped over her and struck the dopent across its chest, sparks bleeding off its hide. "Why don't you just butt out of this?" he demanded before striking the dopent several times. "Why don't you head home?" Tsubasa growled, slashing the dopent and kicking it away for her to finish off. However, Eternal beat her to it as he was the one to end it. Grabbing the Gaia memory from his buckle, he placed it onto the slot on the side of his belt and pressed the button. Eternal Maximum Drive. The tactical night speed started to glow with red flames before he leaped into the air. He swoops towards the dopent before his kick became a corkscrew kick, hitting it, creating an explosion as the host landed on the ground while the Gaia memory landed by the rider's feet. Wait, it was a human all along? Tsubasa got out. The team grabs the Gaia memory and studies it before deciding to keep it. The sound of sirens was heard in the distance, prompting Eternal to head back to his motorcycle. Crap! I forgot. Tsubasa cursed herself before turning to him. Look. This isn't over yet. Just make sure you're ready to explain yourself for later. Looking back at the blueonette, he said, I don't know if I can. Tsubasa. He replied before he drives away the moment he said her name. Wait. He knows me? She said, confused. Eternal raced around before he came back to his home, entering the secret passageway that held the base as he drove down. Once there, he took his driver, folded it up and removed the Gaia memory, causing his armor to disappear. Mom, I'm back. Shroud, however, only came to him and once more he felt her glare as she reached up and pinched his ear hard and dragged him downward to the underground base. Ow wow wow. He flailed his arms. You're in such big trouble, she said, tugging his ear harder as she started to drag him once more. What did I do this time? For letting them see your change. The motorcycle helmet hid my face, Mom, he tried to explain. They don't know who I really am. They still saw it, and since they saw your bike, they can pinpoint it easily. She informed him. Oh. He said quietly until he remembered his victory. I forgot to show you this. He presented the XL Gaia memory. Seeing the device, Shroud took the memory from his hand, observing it. At least you did something correctly, she said softly before she brought him over to a table. Mom? What are you doing? Shroud lowered his collar a bit and used a gun-like injector to his neck that caused Enrique to yelp and hold the needle mark. Mom, what the heck? That was a serum. Huh? The Eternal Gaia memory isn't in its complete state like the others, she explained. Even in the Lost Driver, it can affect you. Tell me, when you first used it, did you feel different? Pondering for a moment, recalling his first fight, he slowly began to piece together what he remembered from the fight. Well, I remember being so angry at the noise. I felt like I wanted to kill them all, burn them away till they are gone. Shroud tapped her chin for a moment, writing down the information about it. Then it seems it didn't affect you greatly. You would have experienced total corruption by its influence, but the Lost Driver was able to prevent most of it since it weakens the memory's full power. Is that bad? One reason why you have to take the serum that I will give you from here on until there is a way to make that Gaia memory complete. The Lost Driver and that serum are the only things keeping you from becoming deranged and insane. The raven-haired teen shuddered upon the image. He wanted to fight the noise, but not turn into some kind of dangerous killing machine. How long does the serum last? The masked woman glanced at him. It has to be taken every 24 hours for the use of the Lost Driver. If not, it will wither your mentality and corrupt you. I understand, Mom, but are you sure it will be a good idea? I mean, what if something happens to you and can't provide the serum? Trust me. I can. I don't want to lose you like how I lost those I cared once before, she said softly. He raised his head to look at her. Judging from her words, she too experienced loss. Was that the reason why she saved him 2 years ago? Now, get some rest. You still need to find the other memories before they find them first and start their plans. Shroud said. Yes, he stopped when his phone rang. He blinked before checking and noticed it was a reminder. Oh right. I forgot about going to the park again. Did you happen to find a girlfriend before you discovered the Gaia memory? She smirked, teasing him. No, nothing like that, Mom. He replied. Just going to the park to play more music like last time. Hee, relax kiddo. I'm only teasing you. She giggled softly. Enrique sighed under his breath before heading back to his worm to change out of his uniform and into some casual clothes. Once he puts them on, he looks for one of his 2 guitars until he found what he was looking for. Found ya. Come on, Miko-chan. I don't want to miss it. Hibiki said with excitement. While it has been nearly 9 hours since that incident when she got that armor and saved that little girl, and eventually being taken to the school. She couldn't tell Miku about it since she was told to secrecy. Are you sure this is okay, Hibiki? I mean, you barely even know this singer, Miku questioned. I know, but I heard he often comes to the park just to help people by singing. Hibiki beamed, remembering the songs he often sang. Trust me, you will have fun. If you say so. Miku sighed. Hibiki and her friend continued their way in the park as the caramel-eyed girl noticed some people gathering for something. Hibiki pulled Miku as they squeezed through the crowd before making it to the central area where the fountain was. And sure enough, Hibiki saw Enrique setting up 2 speakers, a microphone stand, and he had a guitar that had a cross symbol on it. That's the guy? Miku leaned over. Yeah, that's him. She beamed. Looks like he is getting ready, so we made it just in time. The raven-haired teen plugged in his guitar and made sure the mic was ready. All right. He took a deep breath before looking at the crowd. Hey everyone, I'm sure some of you may know me since I am often here at this spot to play music. Right now I want to play this, as a way to give some of you motivation and for others hope. Turning on the mic, a special tune was playing through the speakers. Play Live Long Enough to Become the Hero. The raven-haired teen began to strum the guitar, the rhythm feeling positive but at the same time motivating. I'm down, but you know I'm not out, I've got another round. Second wind, and it's picking me up right off the ground. I'm coming back again. He started to play the song, showing off his vocals for now as the tune pierces the audience's ears, giving them a taste of what's to come for the song and his performance. Can't break me, I'm not giving up, I gotta prove them wrong. Take your time, cause I'm not taking mine, I gotta stand up strong. He continued the tune, strumming along with the back music he made earlier on for this song, as the instrumentals tune up to him with the song before the guitar strums along with it. Voice in my head said to keep on going. Don't let them see you bleed, don't want your weakness showing. Need you to see me. If you could just believe me. Tell me it'll all be fine, that's a lie. If I don't reach out, then how could it be mine? Need you to see me. And know what it's like to be me. If you could just believe me. As the chorus began, he continued to strum along, with the instrumentals he made following suite along with the backup singers that he vocalized. The audience was shocked by the sudden change of tune but went along with it. Lost sight and my knuckles are white. Not gonna break and bend. Bend. My whole world was crumbling down. But I'll still mend. My bones, my skin breaking down wearing thin. Won't break my will, no I'm not giving in. What doesn't kill you's bound to come back for another. You gotta fall, you wanna walk out stronger. As the song continued out, The people listening and watching bobbed their heads to the music, some swaying softly or tapping their foot to the music, with Hibiki nodding her head and adding a jump and step to the beat as Miku could only watch with awe as the instrumental starts once more. Voice in my head said to keep on going. Don't let them see you bleed, don't want your weakness showing. Need you to see me. If you could just believe me. Tell me it'll all be fine, that's a lie. If I don't reach out, then how could it be mine? Need you to see me. And know what it's like to be me. If you could just believe me. The chorus started up once more as some people started to lip sync to the lyrics as much as they could, since some couldn't understand English very well, as others just simply enjoyed the music to even care what the language was. Hibiki felt understanding as she listened to it. She remembered when she saved the girl from the noise, she wasn't giving up and fought back. It was like the song was reminding her that there is still hope to live and fight. I found the strength and now I know where I can confide. I found a way to tame my own monster inside. I've made my way and now I see it, I can reach it now. Hold on to me, be sure you've got it memorized. Yeah, we'll survive the night. As the tune played, nearby was none other than Tsubasa, listening in on the song, while watching Hibiki that she was assigned to watch but not interfere. She remembered the teen on the stage 2 years ago, and a bit surprised to see him alive and take this route as nostalgia overcame her as she too began to sing along softly. Voice in my head said to keep on going. Don't let them see you bleed, don't want your weakness showing. Need you to see me. If you could just believe me. Tell me it'll all be fine, that's a lie. If I don't reach out, then how could it be mine? Need you to see me. And know what it's like to be me. If you could just believe me. Enrique continued with the song as it soon began to wrap up. He poured his heart out into this song as he continued with the instrumentals before it soon ended with a round of applause from the crowd. Some cheered as some of the fallen girls cheered him in all once more. The raven-haired teen breathed out softly before he looks at the small, large crowd. He never expected to see a lot more people than expected, which surprised him greatly. See? What did I tell you? He's awesome. Hibiki smiled at her friend. You were right. Miku said. Come on. Hibiki smiled, taking her friend's hand and dragging her closer to the stage and teen. Enrique, on the other hand, stared at the crowd with surprise before he smiling softly. He wanted to play music, just to give people a sense of hope and motivation. He never thought to draw a very large crowd from the music he played. Hey! Hibiki called out, waving to him as she and her friend approached the stage. Told you that you were awesome. The teen could only chuckle before saying, it's nothing, remember? True, but you can't deny it now. You're going to be just as big as Zwei Wings. The girl smiled. Looking at Hibiki, he looks back at his guitar before placing it back in his case. Well, I should go now. He gave a 2-finger salute and walked past Hibiki and Miku. You'll be here tomorrow? Hibiki asked. Like I said, I am often here because of the atmosphere. He reminded before he left, but when he did, he was in front of Tsubasa. The sight of the Zwei Wing singer made the spectators gasp. Isn't that Tsubasa Kazunari of Zwei Wing? One of the people gasped. It is her. More and more people were talking about fandom upon seeing her while Tsubasa stares at Enrique. Hibiki even looked between the two, wondering if they knew each other. I would like to talk to you alone. She requested, we do have some catching up to do. Since that day. Enrique raised an eyebrow while the others gasped, the raven-haired teen and Blueonette overhearing some thinking if they were former lovers, which caused them to freeze slightly, wondering why would they think that. Tsubasa chose to walk away first before Enrique chose to follow, leaving the others behind. Hibiki started with a surprised look. Do they know each other? She wondered. Enrique and Tsubasa were at the other side of the park, walking on the concrete path while being underneath the light posts that were slowly lighting the night. The silence between the two lasted for minutes until Enrique chose to speak up to start the conversation. So how did you know I was that same kid from 2 years ago? He asked. Your eyes. She responded, I remember those innocent eyes from that day. You've grown a lot since then. I should say the same about you, Tsubasa, he commented the blue-onette. Flirting with me, are we? She teased back with a smirk. The teen spluttered with a small blush, nothing like that. Heh, she was right back then. It is fun to tease you. Tsubasa giggled softly. The teen paused, remembering the flaming redhead. The memories of that day made him look back at Tsubasa, realizing who sang the song. The song I heard 2 years ago, that was her, wasn't it? Tsubasa frowned softly. She gave her life to save everyone. She responded softly, looking away. Wait, what do you mean? He asked. He couldn't bring suspicion since he remembered Kanade using a type of armor, and remembering earlier, he couldn't cause Tsubasa to realize he was eternal. Unfortunately, I can't tell you. I see. He breathed out softly before looking at the stars. You have my condolences. Thank you. Tsubasa said, following his line of sights. I'm sure though she'd be proud to see you are still following your dream. Not professionally, since I am only doing the performances to give people a better outlook on things. I mean, I am not famous like you and Kanade. Both of you were the reason after all. Both of you brought inspiration, and I'd rather not let that go down. Thank you. It's been a while since someone has said that to me. Tsubasa replied softly. I know I often sing for everyone, but it hasn't been the same. Like a bird having a missing wing, Enrique referenced. You don't feel the same after Kanade's death. I know. And it's been very hard, she said softly. She felt a hand on her shoulder, making her raise her head a bit to see his dark brown eyes and smile. I understand how difficult it is after losing someone you care about as family. He took a deep breath to ease the tiredness that was forming. But if I learned anything, just try and keep yourself in check. Remind yourself that there is still some form of hope out there for you. You may have fallen, but you often come out stronger. He quoted. That's quite the advice, she said with a smile. My adoptive mother told me that, he said before looking at the time on his watch. So, how did you even survive? Flashbacks entered his mind. I was outside of the concert, barely managed to survive, he said. Tsubasa stared at him, seeing the truth in his eyes. She could assume that he was somehow escaped the concert during the noise attack, but what saved him? She remembered Kanade risking her life to save the girl Hibiki, but for Enrique? Was there someone else there at the concert that whoever it was gone after him to protect him? If so, why? While she still felt some anger, the anger towards him was less than her anger with Hibiki Tachibana. She was pulled out of her thoughts when the raven-haired teen looked at his phone. I better go. My mom hates it when I am not home this late at night. Better not keep her waiting. Besides, I best prepare due to the rumors that may spread now about us, she pointed out. What rumors? Either they'll think we're related, you're related to Kanade, or secret lovers or something? She sighed. PFTT, he scoffed. Like hell. I am not related to you or Kanade at all. She chuckled, but Enrique decided to humor her with a smirk. But it would have been cool if you were a sister. Hee, well, as someone as kind as you, I wouldn't mind that either. She smiled at him, but her cheeks flushed a bright pink in embarrassment at the words that came out of her mouth. The American having a smug grin of victory splitting his face. Who is the teasing one now? Enrique mused. You didn't hear a thing. She turned away before walking ahead. The young man was silent for a moment as he watches her leave until, Hey Tsubasa. The teen scratched his cheek for a moment before saying, "If you want, do you want to hang out? As friends so we can catch up from the past 2 years?" Tsubasa looked at him before smiling softly. "I'd like that actually. Thank you." With their parting words, the two teens went their separate ways to their homes, but for Tsubasa, she was unaware of the teen she talked to was the very same person she encountered earlier. The Kamen rider. In the crash site of the helicopter, the bodies of the scientist and soldiers scattered as the humanoid from earlier searched through the debris, looking for something. Shoving the metal aside, the being noticed the devices were nowhere in sight. A growl emanated from the monster before the sound of a groan was heard. Turning its head, it noticed the gravely injured scientist. A maddening grin spreads across its lips under its mask. It walked over before grabbing the scientist by the collar and brought him up. "Now you are going to tell me where that Gaia memory is," it said. I don't have it anymore," he admitted in fear. "Why your attack caused it to be lost in the explosion." A sigh was heard from the monster. "Such a shame." It released the scientist and turned around. "And here I thought I would have it. Instead." The humanoid immediately thrust his claw when it turned around, the arm embedded in the scientist as a maniacal laugh escaped from its mouthplate. "You made my job more interesting."